cannot give more than a certain threshold, out of which you go to jail. Yes. If you are financing an individual, you can go more than $1,000. If you are financing a group, you can go beyond $5,000.
Dr. Asa Asante, listen to him again.
In the US, for instance, they saw this. So what they did was to have regulations regarding this. Upper ceiling in terms of if anybody is financing you. Difficult to implement that. But they have also certain rules that you cannot give more than a certain threshold, out of which you go to jail. Yes. If you are financing an individual, you can go more than $1,000. If you are financing a group, you can go beyond $5,000.
Dr. Kwame Asa Asante there with Bella Mundi on the Election Command Center. William, this vote buying conversation, it looks like it would never get away. It won't, would it?
These discussions always get mixed up with the whole, first of all, the traditional concept of gift giving. And then it comes to, if you like, the gift tax as per the, I think it's Act 896, taxable gift and all that. So what is happening in respect of politics? If somebody gives you money and says to you that it is T&T, what consideration are you also giving for taking the money? Even in the traditional sense, if somebody gives you a piece of land as a gift, you must perform a certain act to be able to complete the process of transferring the gift to you. And so it becomes quite difficult. So now, are we saying that because they've received this, it is a bribe, and so they should be arrested for a criminal offense? Or they've taken these monies, so it's a gift, so they should come and pay tax on a gift? So the conversation becomes hydra-headed. So it is for us to apply. That's why I'm interested in what the OSP has to say
about this matter.
Yes, because I've read this morning that he's on a manhunt for some people who are identified to have taken money for this election.
So they has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Because they have to go to Kumewu and Asin North and all those other places.
So because you look at the some of the statements that the delegates make, that they travel from far and near to come and vote. They don't have means of transportation. So does that also deny them the right to come and vote?
But you see, again, the question comes, if you're within a constituency, 400 Ghana cedis to transport you to and fro. I mean, what are you driving?
That is what I'm saying. You see, the traditional, if you come to my house and I give you 500 cedis, I won't say 500 cedis in the back. So we usually say Jifafa car. So it has a traditional undertone. Because we all know that from Dansoman to Abelingbe is not 500 cedis.
Right.
Somebody visits you in the office, so take this 100 cedis or 200 cedis
for water.
For transportation.
For water.
For water.
Yeah.
I mean, how am I going
to buy
swim?
bread?
How are you going to swim in a pool of water? So those who reduce the conversation to that kind of thing, I find it quite problematic. Because if I'm giving you that kind of money, I just put it on to make it nice traditionally, or if you like culturally. But it doesn't mean I'm giving you 2,000 cedis to go and take Uber from Dansoman to Abokobi. It's just the money I'm giving, I'm just putting something on it. But to the extent that, is it an inducement for the people to vote for them? Does it affect what they do? Is the GRA interested in this if they say that it's a gift? And how does the law define a bribe? These individuals who are coming to stand for these positions, are they occupying any space that they will do something for the delegates, for which reason they are taking money? And so the conversation is not as simple as we want. That's why your question is important. Is it going to go away?
Yeah.
So if it is what it is, then the party members or the party should be able to galvanize their members, mobilize more members, let them pay dues. So that on an occasion like this, the party itself will put basis advantage points that the party will pay to bring these individuals to the voting centers. Because as we know, 111 constituencies went through the exercise. So if we identify all these 111 and the party is well resourced through dues and fundraising and that kind of thing, we make buses available for the individuals, especially the delegates. We make refreshments available. I saw pictures of people setting up
Buffet. Yeah.
Some say buffet.
Buffet.
Tables at the center.
Yeah.
And people are hungry. They will eat. So it is for the parties.
You don't go job.
You go job. So it is for the parties who are, party members, party leadership, to say, look, we are mobilizing so many people. NDC will come and say, we have 5 million plus vote. Are they registered members?
It's a question that we'll
NPP,
ask.
do they have 5 million?
Let's connect with Mr. Ben Efson. He is a pollster. He's also the chief servant at the Daily Dispatch. Chief, thank you very much indeed for your time. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning to our listeners here.
Great. Let's do a quick review of the primaries in the orphan constituencies of the New Patriotic Party over the weekend. What did you see? What did you hear? What do you know? What do you want to share?
Oh, I think that basically it followed the trends of constituency elections in the two big parties. NDC and NPP over time, it has become two ways for people to be elected. Though there are two ways that parliamentary candidates deal with their issues. Some will wait, get into time, give key sums of money to be elected. The sensible and clever ones over time, maybe 6 months to a year to time, they start giving the delegates small handouts, help them get their child get admission and so on. So obviously it has become for the highest bidder, and that is basically what it is. The one thing which is clear is that in constituencies where the party does not attempt to skew results for a particular candidate, the party has a good chance of doing well. It is when officialdom tries to bring down or try to disqualify a candidate that brings apathy. So generally it was as I expected in terms of who would win. And frankly speaking, some of the candidates who knew their strength. So some would not waste money. Some crossed over from Eastern region to Greater Accra. And they beat candidates who had been contesting, who had contested 2 or 3 times and so on. So
let's look at some of the notable winners. For example, and I begin from where you ended. Amadukwa is Member of Parliament for Equiapim North. She left Equiapim North, some say because Sami Wuku is in the neighborhood. He's been acclaimed as the candidate for that area. So Amadukwa comes down to Okaikwe North, where Hussein Issa was hoping to get that, Ken Crunchy as well, Ethia Kutu and 2 others, all interested in that particular seat, in which Awuni, Theresa Awuni, is what do you call it, a member of parliament for the area. It's obvious now that Amadukwa made a great choice, but does she stand a chance of winning the 2024 elections, particularly when she is relatively new as the face of the constituency in that area?
Well, he has an uphill task. He has to try and get the other candidates to be defeated on board to campaign with her, because some of them have been locked every contestants, and if she decides to go it alone, it is likely she will lose, because they will not get up and vote for NDC, but they will not come out and vote for her. So in that particular constituency, she has a lot of bridges to cross, talk to all the candidates who contested against. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for her.
Will that be easy in terms of trying to rally everybody around the flag? Because they had interest. Hussein Issa, for example, has been a former member of parliament in that area, lost to Theresa Awuni in the 2020 elections. He was hoping to come back. And then some people on the ground say that the party literally brought all these ladies on to come and contest him. Ken Crunchy himself, journalist and now lawyer, in there. And you think it's going to be easy to rally the people around to say, let's look at party first rather than parochial interests?
Oh, I think that just to rally Fuseni around and then the other lady who lost. These are the two men. My good friend Ken Crichton has always been at the periphery, you know. So Fuseni and the lady, if he gathers them
Ifiakoto, you
around.
mean? Yeah.
Yes, yes. If he gathers these two around, I think that that constituency will be very interesting to watch on 7th December 2024.
Let's go to Lejokuku, Bernard Okoboy. He emerged victorious in that constituency. Mind you, he's been member of parliament for that area before. Bernard Iku beat him at his own Olympics in the elections of 2020. And there are conversations about the fact that, well, he gave some rice, some beans without oil and gari and all of these things. But again, what does it look like in the Lejokuku constituency, particularly for Dr. Bernard Okoboy?
Oh, Lejokuku has always been a swing constituency. The NDC MP did well to have retained the seat. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think that one of the things that Okoboy did, we should ignore to his advantage, and that will be a very close contest. That ever since he lost, he has been going back there, being in touch with people. He had behaved virtually like was a member of parliament. You know, for some typical, you know, he's a bureaucrat who went into politics. For the hardcore politicians, people who have politics is virtually their profession. When they lose and they are trying to go back, they single out those who didn't vote for them, you know. But for a technocrat like Okoboy, he had been going back, helping everybody, and that should be an interesting piece to see. Because one thing people should not forget is that delegates have memories. You know, you go around in the past, you know, you go around and delegates tell you that some of them, they take solace in the point that if you don't eat your breakfast, you put it down, you don't eat your lunch. You can't eat the breakfast and lunch at supper time. It tells you that they take into account those who, in course of the 4 years, they may have lost, but they're always there for them. They help them. Than somebody who 3.5 years will not help them 6 months to elections, bring a bag of money. So these are some of the little things that people do which inures to their benefit. So Lejokuku will be interesting to watch. The seat we discuss will be interesting. There'll be a few interesting ones. You go to the north, quite a few of them. They are interesting constituencies that 2024 should be interesting, both at the presidential and the parliamentary level.
Let's stay on Lejokuku or in Lejokuku. Look at the results for 2020. 55,938. That represents 50.48% for Bernard Iku of the NDC, who won the seat and is in parliament. Bernard Okoboy of the NPP had 54,072, representing 48.79. Quite a close margin. Do you think that the coin could flip in the interest of Bernard Okoboy, given the sense that he may have learned his lessons and the people may have also experienced Bernard Iku, and as you say, it's a swing constituency, so anything could happen?
I mean, I did very well the last time because Lejokuku is one of the most swing constituencies, parliamentary seats in this country. So for Aiku to have retained the seat, if you look at the results, Lejokuku has never given the same candidate a repeat. Since 1992, only NDC had won twice in succession, and they changed candidates. So Aiku had been the only candidate who had gone again and won. Yes, it is close, and I'm sure this will go to the wire on December 7th. Because Lejokuku is a very strange constituency. It's one of the constituencies I use when we are doing, you know, friends of parties in Greater Accra, Lejokuku, Adenta, and 2 or 3 other constituencies are the most strange constituencies in Greater Accra that we use.
Pandai constituency. Matthew Nyindam, former member of parliament, he polled 23,669 votes that represent 47.74%. Daniel Insala or Kyle, NDC, polled 25,741 and represents 51.92%. Now, again, a gentleman who held a lot of potential, or still does, but not after the delegates decided that he was not ready to lead. Richard Nyama, he came to the fore with a lot of promise, but he didn't get the nod. They bring him back, Matthew Nyindam. Is Matthew Nyindam fit for purpose, given the fact that he lost as a sitting MP to an NDC person who was not as much as popular as he was?
Well, I think that Richard is like a very good friend of mine, but I suspected he would lose because he was supporting Alan. But I like Richard's tone after he lost. He said he's going to help Matthew win the seat back. You know, for some of the constituents, those who have supported, who are taking open sides, will pay the price. But Richard is very popular, and him coming on board, Richard is very sincere. If he wouldn't help Matthew, he would not say it. By saying that you will help Matthew and Bamia will win the seat, I think that it looks like it could flip. But Richard is very popular there. I mean, you see, what people should distinguish, Johnny, is that there is a difference from delegates and voters. You may have maybe 1,000 delegates or 1,500 delegates, and that constituency may have about 10,000 delegates. 10,000 voters. So the delegates of 1,000, 1,005 may have decided, but the person may have an influence on far more than that. So for Marty, we should be happy that Richard has openly expressed his support for him. So that's an interesting speech to watch.
There's a new kid on the block, Akosia Menu, in the Adentan constituency. She emerged victorious, deputy CEO of the National Youth Authority, and also one of the key voices of the NPP on media platforms. But then again, if you look at the results from 2020, you have 49,255 votes that represent 43.440%. And then for the NDC that won the seat in Adenta constituency, you had 63,436 that represents 55.89. Is Akosia Menu again able to topple this gentleman, this Ramadan gentleman in the Adentan constituency?
Akosia Menu will need the help of the gentleman he defeated. Otherwise, he'll be hitting a wall. Adenta is one of the most swing constituencies in data crime in the country. So Ramadan did very well. Even for the NPP Primaries, was up against Nanoyulite and others, and he won. And if Akosia Menu wants to go it alone, he'll go and hit the block. He needs police assistance to make it competitive. So that is another interesting thing to watch.
If you look at the elections that happened over the weekend, especially for orphan constituencies, you would notice that presidential staffers, for example, Jefferson Saki, who works at the communications department of the presidency, Eugene Ahin, director of communications at the presidency, Akosia Menu, as I've mentioned, deputy CEO of the NYA, Marco Krikomanti, deputy minister for tourism, arts and culture. You find Ifya Kuto is also there, the Maslock, you have CEO of the authority, many other people who are in government, but they have had to run to go and contest to represent the party on the parliamentary front. What story does that tell you?
Oh, for most of these staffers and appointees, I must give it to them. Greater Accra is the king of the swing constituencies, swing regions in the country, Greater Accra and Central. So it's a Greater Accra especially it's a region that we monitor a lot as what goes on there. And most of these names you mentioned, to their credit, had not only learned that you give them money per se, but for the past at least a year and a half, we've been courting delegates, going to them and so on. And why a number of people go to Parliament, there are two main reasons. If your government retains power, the possibility that if you want to be appointed the minister, the constitution ties the president's hands. The majority of ministers must come from Parliament. You go into Parliament because if in case your party loses power, you'll be relevant. You'll be a member of Parliament. So appointees go, especially if the president, because definitely if NDC wins, they will get appointment. If Bamia wins, they will not still be in that position. If Bamia wins, should be faced with the difficulty that majority of his ministers must come from Parliament. So that is why if you cast your mind back, you see that when presidents on their second term, members of the government in power, quite a number of them try to get their way into Parliament. And that's the one.
Is it because they see that victory may not be coming towards them, and so they have to secure their political future, as it were?
If even you are sure that victory will come, you can be sure that if you spend 7 years, 8 years being a co-founder appointee, and you think Bamia comes and he's going to appoint you to continue, he most of his people that he wants to bring on board. There are certain politics they don't take chances. Elections, ballot box decide. So you go in, if your party wins, you strengthen your chances of being minister because majority must come from Parliament. If your party does not win, politically you become relevant to the party. A double-edged sword. And it makes sense. It makes sense to do that.
I see. So this should not be misconstrued or inferred to mean that the individuals who are already serving in government may have seen something that we all don't know, and they are trying just to be on the safe side because they're too young within the body politics of the country.
Oh, I mean, clearly, you can't be in the government position for 8 years and expect that in case your party wins, you continue. I mean, clearly, no. So you have to be sensible about that there's a possibility that even if NPP wins, you may not be appointed. So you become relevant, you become an MP. And if you look back, I mean, every time a government is in its second and final term, you get appointed going into Parliament. So it makes political sense and common sense to do that.
Mark Okrekumante, he failed to get the Ayenswano nod on the ticket of the NPP. Does it come to you as a shocker?
Oh, no, not as a shocker. Some of these constituencies, they believe in loyalty. Okrekumante has not been in the forefront in politics. He's been more of an entertainment person. So coming into politics, I'm sure if he decides to contest in the next 4 years, he'll have learned his lesson that despite losing, he has to be attending funerals, he has to be going back to the constituency and so on. So, he was virtually a novice in politics. So I'm sure he learned his lessons and, the next 2-3 years, he'll be focusing there. So maybe a better stay in 3-4 years' time.
Mr. Benefson, I thank you very much indeed. But before I let you go, these individuals who have been selected on the side of the NPP, one wants to know if they are a match for their counterparts in the NDC who already hold the seats. Remember, with this primaries is for orphan constituencies, so they are going head-to-head with sitting members of parliament who are not within their party but belong to the other side of the aisle. What do you see?
Johnny, they should bear in mind that in 2020, NDC won 30 of 32 seats they have lost. That can happen in a year's time. You get me? So you take elections for granted at your own risk. NDC won 30, they lost 32 seats in 1996. We won 30 back. So in politics, you don't take it for granted. You do that, and on the evening of December 7, 2024, you do not pay your fee.
Mr. Benefson, I thank you very much indeed for your time. We're grateful.
You're welcome.
As Benefson, he's with the Daily Dispatch, is also a pollster, joining us here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7 on your Urban Lifestyle Radio.
Well, you guys have been in this political coverage business for a very long time. And then you understand, sometimes when defeat is staring at an opponent, the best excuse to give is to talk about money or talk about other things. I'm fortunate that he said money. That he said 500. In 21st century Ghana, 2023 Ghana, if you want to run for parliamentary primaries and you cannot get a starting amount for that as 500 cedis to give to delegates to transport into the voting center and as part of TNT, then you have no business contesting. You have no business contesting to become parliamentary candidate.
Is this an admission that indeed that happened?
No. I didn't give that amount, but I just wanted to, because your ability to raise funds to support your candidate shows the credibility of the candidate. It also shows the goodwill that you have with people. For me, all I know is that my campaign team yesterday in the evening gave something small for people to transport themselves in, which is way low, that figure that has been mentioned. But for me, if I had, I think 500 Ghana cedis is so small an amount to give to delegates to come and queue here to vote.
So you are ravishing that allegation?
Yeah. I think we should discuss better things. But as you can see, the feeling here, I am going to overwhelmingly be endorsed today as a parliamentary candidate for NPP Morgan Central. So for me, like I said, when defeat is staring at some opponents, throughout the campaigns, I have been very quiet. I've decided not to go to radio. I've decided not to go on social media. I've decided not to talk about anybody. The only people I spoke with was the delegate. I gave my message to them, what I would do. I want to promise, which the promise I gave to the delegates that I think would do the magic for me. My target is to unseat Isaac Adongo. Nothing more, nothing less.
That was the voice of Elvis Atia Awonekai. He's going head to head with Adongo, Dr. Baumia's best friend on the finance. He gave him the name Wale Adam Smith. Oh my God. Now, this gentleman says that even 500 Ghana cedis is small money. It's not enough. So, look, we have now established it that to play within the political field, you need to give something. If not, forget it.
I think I've put a suggestion on the table, Johnny. If, as a society, we have said that our roads are bad, the economy is in a very poor condition, so people will not have the wherewithal to travel to election centers. I'm saying that the contestants should make their contributions to the party.
So that the party will distribute.
The party on the day will make the buses available, will make food available, give the TNT if there's any cash left after they've gotten the buses. I don't think if MPP set up some spot around the election centers and after voting you go there in the party office, the makeshift party office, to take money and go away. Nobody will blame anybody for corruption.
But we saw, on tables, money is being shared.
By
you sign your name and then you collect. But
that is wrong.
Yes, but it's happening under the banner of a political organization.
So that's what
whether NDC or NPP.
So the party leadership, not NPP or NDC,
Right.
all the parties, the leaders of the party must come to this conclusion that the delegates are saying that they want money to travel, they want money to buy food, they want some money in their pockets. If that's what we are saying, I'm just suggesting that the parties should galvanize, mobilize, mop up funds from the delegates, if you like, from the party faithful, put the money together on election day, take care of them. Because if I, as a delegate, go and set up a table and I'm beginning to dole out money, that is against all, thinking.
But the point is that if, for example, people were comfortable, nobody will feel obliged to come and take these monies.
That's the point I made earlier.
If
the economy is bad.
Yes.
And
the politician knows that the economy is bad. If I keep making it look bad, the people will keep coming to me for what I want. And once I give you money, I can induce you and say, do A,
That's
B,
where the
C,
problem
D
is.
for me. And that's where the thing is.
But to make it look, to take it away from bribery and corruption, I'm suggesting that this support must come from the party as a corporate entity, not from the individuals who are standing for election.
People don't pay their dues.
Yes,
so that's why when you have a presidential candidate on behalf of a political party, and it will come very soon, but they will ask people to now contribute to a short code, so and so, contribute to the campaign. I mean, if people were paying their dues religiously on a monthly basis, all right, people were donating to the party, they won't have to do that.
Okay, so the individual members are not paying, but those who are standing for elections have the money because we are seeing them sharing it. I'm saying that they should push all those funds to the party so that the party as a corporate entity will do the distribution, the disbursement, the feeding, and the transportation. So that it doesn't come, because as soon as I do that as a contestant, or you, and I have more than you, it means it's the money that is going to get me there, not my intellect or my resourcefulness or whatever. But as a potential MP, you must have some sense of integrity. You must be respected, and you must have empathy. But that empathy must not make you appear as if you are bribing anybody.
Yeah. 54 minutes after 8, and the gentleman, Elvis Atia Wenekai, in the Boga Central constituency, will go head to head with this man in Parliament. Listen to him.
For demonstrating leadership. But for you, Mr. Speaker, the finance minister won't be here.
I'll bring that back for you quickly so that we can get a taste of what Adongo is like on the floor of Parliament. He's been very critical of the Akufo-Addo-led administration on the note of finance and everything else. But, well, it's interesting, is it not? Listen to him as he tells you a bit of what he is experiencing in Parliament. And you can always join us on our Facebook page at 3FM927, where we're showing you some videos of how the money sharing saga happened over the weekend. Also, you can join us, hashtag 3FM Sunrise, and Amaka is back, so your comments and thoughts are well welcome. We'll share them with the rest of the wonderful world.
Count players if this budget can be implemented or cannot be implemented. But Mr. Speaker, I am not surprised. If you are a fan of football, and I'm happy to see you the other day jubilating when Ghana won. But there was a player in the United Kingdom, in England, called Maguire, who was playing for Manchester United. Harry Maguire. He's a defender. He was tackling everybody and throwing his bodies everywhere, that he was seen as the best defender in the world. Manchester United went and bought him. He became the biggest threat at the center of Manchester United's defense, tackling Manchester players and giving assists to opponents. Mr. Speaker, when even the opponents fail to score, Maguire will score for them. Mr. Speaker, you remember in this country we also had an economic Maguire. This economic Maguire went to Malata market and were clapping, saying that this man is the best in managing foreign currency. The same economic Maguire was roaming at Central University, delivering lectures on how to restore the value of the cedi. Mr. Speaker, when we gave this Maguire the opportunity to be at the center of our defense, he became the risk of our own goal. Dr. Momia, our economic Maguire, is now tackling all the fundamentals of our economy and destroying all of them. When he said that he was the best in calculating inflation, he moved us to 40.4. When he said that he was the best in managing depreciation, that was 9% at the Mahama, he moved it to 54%. Mr. Speaker, this man was crying everywhere that businesses are collapsing because of interest rate. Today, Koku Mensa Enterprise will have to borrow above the 36% government is borrowing, somewhere around 45 to 50%. Mr. Speaker, the biggest fear now is that we may be paying appearance fee for this Maguire to now score downgrade against that.
I don't go. Let's take a break. When we return from this break, there's more here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We'll be right back.
Get ready for the most